Hare Krishna. When I came to the Belgrade airport, I remembered how you would be there with the two very small children who would not be sure if they should hide behind you or be left or right. Thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna. So I'm very enthusiastic to start my seminar. We are still very few of us. But Bodhisattva is here. Hare Krishna. I'm thinking, should we maybe have a little bit more oxygen? That is always nice, no? Maybe, Saraswati, can you just open behind? You have to go around. So, yeah, thank you to Vijayaka. And maybe Ananda Gopal, we can leave the door open just so that there's enough fresh air. I'm sorry for being a little late. There were these two wonderful devotees, and they had their Brahmin initiation, so it took a little longer time. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati I want to greet you affectionately for this seminar, which is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his associates, and some of their most important teachings for our spiritual life. I would like to kidnap you now. We will go to a deep forest in Bengal. It is 3 o'clock in the morning. There are tigers in the forest. It's dark. It's raining. And we come close to a little clearing. There are a few trees. And at the end of the clearing we find a cottage made of straw. It's very small, just big enough so that one person can sleep in it. Before the cottage there is a tulsi plant. We are surprised, tulsi here in the midst of the dark forest. And before the tulsi plant, cottages in the back, is one lonely person. From his eyes we see tears coming. On his body we see different symptoms which tell us that he must be in the ecstasy of love of Godhead. There are goosebumps. Sometimes he changes colors. He's red and he's pale. And he chants one mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What is his name? Haridas. His name is Haridas, the servant of Hari. When you asked in the village Benipol about this Haridas, who's chanting the whole night and the whole day, the informations vary. Some say his parents were Muslims and they died when he was only 8 years old. He grew up as an orphan. Sometimes he would sit at the feet of one great saint called Balaram Acharya. But some are not so clear. They think he is a Sufi. Others think it's very difficult to find anything out about Haridas because he never speaks about himself. When we meet him, he is always either chanting the holy names or he is singing and dancing, and only very few times he explains something, but all he talks is about the holy names. So there's only very little information about this Haridas. let us go back into the forest. Slowly the sun is rising in the eastern horizon, and Haridas sees the sun and addresses the sun, "Oh sun, you're cheating me. Why are you already rising? A day has not yet passed. I have not completed my rounds." He has not completed his rounds. He has just finished 190 something rounds and he has not finished. He says, "Why is time going so fast? I want to chant. Son, don't you understand? I need to chant." It is this great saint with whom we will start our introduction of the series on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. I would like to say that although his background was not so clear, I mean, he became known as the Muslim saint, because one thing was clear, he came from a Muslim background. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu soon, he knew about Haridas, and when he met him, he made him the leader of his spiritual movement. Nam Acharya, he called him. And there is a reason. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to call the conditioned souls. Wake up, he would say. Why do you waste your time with sleeping in the night and working during the day? Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up! He would say like this, and everyone would slowly wake up. And Mahaprabhu said, "I have come to give you the medicine which will help you to wake up from your material existence. Take the holy name. You are now totally almost dead in the lap of Maya, and take the holy name, and that's how you wake up." Mahaprabhu explained that there are 9 processes of devotional service, but of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. Always. That means he has not said we should stop. If one does so, and at the same time avoids the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of God. Everyone, everywhere, since all times, wants to experience love. There are 2 needs which we all have. We want to be loved by others, we want to be appreciated, we don't want to be rejected. And there is another need, we want to give our love. Now the perfection of this is to be loved by God and to give your love to God. Then you know what is unlimited love. So this is the jewel, the greatest treasure for which everyone is struggling since time immemorial. And it is easily available by this process of chanting the holy names and simultaneously being careful to avoid the 10 offenses. Taramadye Sarvashreshta Nama Sankirtana Niraparadina Maloila Paya Premadana. No, the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. If one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of Godhead. So, because Haridas Thakur had realized this, he experienced this, therefore he became the main influence in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. He was made the Nam Acharya. Acharya means someone who teaches by his own example. When you meet him, you know, whoa, this is true. We have a saying in English where we say, I can't hear what you say to me. I just can't hear, because what you are speaks so loud that I cannot listen to what you are saying. Isn't it? We want to see a person who teaches by example more than by teaching his words. So Haridas Thakur was such an acharya. Sanatana Goswami once said, you know, some behave well but don't preach, whereas others preach but don't behave well. You, Haridas Thakur, do both. You behave well, you chant, and you preach so loudly by your example, so that you combine both. Good behavior, acharya, achar, and pracha, and preaching. My dear devotees, I want to encourage all of you, as your first lesson, bring the two together, behave well and preach. Then you are complete. If you only behave well and stay at home, you will be frustrated. If you only preach and your behavior is also not well, you feel frustrated even in preaching. We have seen this. Both must be there. Good behavior in Krishna consciousness, exemplary behavior behind your closed doors, and preaching. Mahaprabhu said this, Sanatana Goswami said this, you behave well, Haridas Thakur, you chant from morning till evening, but you also found time to preach, to Jagai and Madai, for instance. We hear when Haridas Thakur was old, he would go with Nityananda to preach to these fallen sinners, Jagai and Madai. Now, sometimes the question is, why do we stress so much on spreading Krishna consciousness to others? Why is there so much emphasis to not just practice Krishna consciousness, but to spread Krishna consciousness? There is one thing which we must all learn as devotees. This is the answer. A devotee should be compassionate. When a devotee is compassionate and feels for the misery of the living entities, he is a real devotee. Yeah. I remember we were driving in the night to the summer camp, and a white rat ran over the street, zigzag, zigzag, before our car. Both of us, Jaigo, Jagannath, and myself, we understood we cannot drive over this white rat. It would be a very inauspicious beginning of a spiritual camp. So Jagannath, he slapped on the brakes, and we almost, lost. The car came out, began to move wildly, and we stopped at the red just passed, and I said, see, this is necessary in Krishna consciousness. You have to stop for for another living being. You cannot hurt another living being and try to be God conscious. It's not possible. Jai Gaur Jagannath said, this is the difference between a materialist and the spiritualist. The spiritualist has stopped before the red, and the materialist would go a little faster just to get the red and kill it and feel that's the difference. You are a spiritualist has to be compassionate, and a materialist is very often violent. Do you know that the happiness of a saintly person comes when he sees the happiness of others? And the happiness of demons comes when they see the unhappiness of others. There is a very nice little detour. Ravana once the demon Ravana called all his ministers together and said, so is everyone nicely paying their taxes? The minister said, yes, almost everyone, but not the saints who live in the forest. They are so poor, they cannot pay their taxes. Then Ravan said, we like to drink blood, so take their blood. That is our tax. Imagine bringing Murari Chaitanya to the blood bank by force. No, I need my blood. I need to be energetic for my service. Then we will put him down and then just take 2 liters of blood from him. This is your tax for Ravan. So that's inconceivable, but this is how Ravan worked. A spiritualist should come away from the Ravan mentality, that is, to live at the expense of others. A spiritualist should serve others' well-being and enter the saintly mentality. So, therefore, if you want to be a real devotee, you must show compassion. And the highest compassion we understand is to help someone from ignorance, to come out of ignorance where he hurts himself and others, and enter the life of transcendental knowledge where he is advancing himself and helps others to advance very nicely. This is very, very, very important. Jivadaya, or compassion towards other living entities, is one of the 3 principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Therefore, Haridas Thakur behaved very well. He chanted himself exemplary, his rounds, so many of them, and he also found time to preach Krishna consciousness for the benefit of others. It is often a question is asked, why did he take birth in a low-class family, a family of meat eaters? Why did he do it? And the answers oft is given that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Almighty Lord, wants to show that for bhakti you do not need to have material qualifications. spiritual qualifications, yes, but not material qualifications. Bhakti is beyond all the normal categories, and therefore Prahlad Maharaj, the greatest Bhakta, who is worshipped by sitting on the lap of the Lord, we have such a deity, he took his birth in the family of demons. Yes. Hanuman was a monkey. But the Devatas wanted to touch him. The divine beings wanted to be in close contact with Hanuman because of his bhakti. In the same way, Haridas Thakur may have had a low background, so a background of people who went against the Vedic principles and lived against the Vedic principles. But he taught all of us that bhakti and bhakti alone, devotion for Krishna, is beyond all the categories of good and evil in this world. Yes. All the great Vaishnavas, wherever they took birth, recognized Haridas as the Namacharya. Now, something which I would like to talk about in Haridas Thakur is that he was put to a test. Krishna puts his dear devotees through a test. It is said when a rich man wants to show his gold, the purity of a gold, he puts it into the fire because gold which is melting in the fire begins to show a very nice effulgence. It looks really nice. So when a good devotee is put into a test, his greatness is shown to the world, and the world understands what is bhakti. When a not so great devotee is put to a test, all his external show falls to the ground. But here, Haridas Thakur was chosen as the greatest devotee for a very difficult test. Like the Pandavas were also chosen by Krishna as a wonderful, for example, how to remain loyal to Krishna under great difficulties. No? When we see how someone in easy circumstances is a devotee, we feel, yeah, that's easy. But when we see someone under difficult circumstances, like the Russian devotees who did not have enough to eat and who were subjected to the interrogation methods of the KGB, when they practice Krishna consciousness under such difficult circumstances, we feel impressed and encouraged in our Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada once, when he was in France, talked about this to His Holiness Indradona Maharaj. Indradona Maharaj had come from a very difficult day in doing Harinam in Paris. Then they came with a car from where they lived and wanted to drive into Paris. Dobro došli. Fresh breeze, dobro došli. Then, they just drove out of the gas station and were on the Autobahn when all of a sudden the tire burst, punctured. It took them like 1 hour to repair this. Then the next thing was they came into Paris and it started to rain. And it was very difficult to find a dry place. Very difficult. Then they did Harinam, and then a lady came before Indradumna Maharaj and made all the time like this. I hope there's some videos, then there will be only this one part in the internet, so I can't do it. It went like, took the ears and took the tongue out, and made like, made all the time a bad noise. And so on. So the lady disturbed the kirtan so much, and at the end of the day, Indradumna Maharaj was totally finished. Tire puncture, rain, crazy lady, too much. And he came back to the temple, and Prabhupada was there and called him, please come in my room. How was your day on Sanctuary? And Indradumna Maharaj said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, it was so difficult, I don't know if I can continue to do this. We had rain, we had a tire, the car problem, and then the people were just nasty at us. Then Prabhupada took his fist, and Maharaj has showed me, he went like this, on his table, and he looked at him and he said, whoever said it would be easy? Never said this. Who said to become self-realized is easy? I had to also go through so many difficulties. But by these difficulties, you become a first-class devotee. It is said, these austerities are the fastest chariot to God. Don't run away from difficulties. Do you just want to have a comfortable life, or do you want that this is your last life? Shall I ask the question again? Do you just want to have a comfortable life, or do you want that this is the last life?
Both. Yeah.
Both. So, if your answer is both, then Krishna will show you that it's not possible. All of a sudden there will be trouble in your marriage. All of a sudden your business will not go very nicely. All of a sudden everything becomes difficult, so that you can finally understand. Make your choice. Choose Krishna. Take shelter in Krishna. This is why tests are there for normal people, but for great devotees, tests are there. They have understood already. They have taken full shelter at Krishna. But for great devotees, Krishna puts them under fire tests, so that the glories of bhakti comes forth. There was a lot of talk about Haridas Thakur, this saint who would chant in the forest and who would sometimes go out to preach. This great personality, Haridas Thakur. At that time, the government had was a foreign government, and the government said, you are one of us. And they brought him in chains before the king. The king said, "Why do you, who have been initiated in the sacred teachings of the Muslim religion, why have you become so degraded to become a Hindu?" Haridas Thakur laughed. He just had to laugh. He said, oh my dear king, is one and the same God who makes someone turn to this path and who inspires another person to go that path. Isn't that a beautiful interreligious message? It's one and the same God who inspires me to be a Hare Krishna devotee, and another, for instance, is inspired to be a Christian. Only on the material platform, when we are under the control of the illusory energy, we make a difference. It's very welcome, by the way. Please, the good breeze is very good, but we can maybe close this. The king asked Haridas, "Please stop chanting. Follow your natural path. By birth you are a Muslim. You must follow the Muslim Dharma." But Haridas Thakur laughed and said, "How wonderful is the illusory energy of Maya. How wonderful, how great it is. Listen, the Supreme Lord of all is one. The Hindus call him Krishna, the Muslims call him Allah, but he is one and the same. And the Lord sits in everyone's heart, and he inspires everyone to worship him in a particular way. He accepts the devotion of everyone. He's Baba Grahi Janarana. But if anyone is envious towards any one of his children, then he retaliates. I know one example of this. There was once an exalted Vaishnava lady. Her name was Karma Bhai. She was living in Jagannath Puri, and she was very poor, but she loved Jagannath like anything. So she decided she would cook a khichdi, you know, that's the poor man's food, rice, mung dal, sabji, bas. Gora Krishna is cooking first class khichdi, by the way, but now he cooks everything. Not just khichdi, but he started with khichdi, his career as cook Prabhu. Kamabai cooked every morning khichdi and prayed to Lord Jagannath, "Please accept it." And Lord Jagannath heard it in the temple, and he came from the temple to her little hut and ate khichdi. Now one morning, Kamabai got up a little late and couldn't take a shower. She cooked immediately the khichdi because it needed to be finished and eaten by Jagannath before the pandas would serve him his breakfast in the Jagannath Puri temple. So she didn't take a shower, but she simply got up and started to cook the khichdi. And one devotee saw this and said, "What are you doing?" "I'm a little bit in a hurry, I'm cooking for Jagannath." "What? In this unclean situation? This is too much. Don't do this. you must follow all these Vedic rules. And he sat down and explained. The khichdi was already ready, and Kamabai said, just wait, I'm just offering it. And then Jagannath came and ate the khichdi. And then the devotee said, next time, he didn't see Jagannath, but he just saw she was offering. Next time you must follow all these rules. So many mantras, so many tantras, so many yantras, so many this and that. And explained to her all the rules. But then, yes, Kamabai said, oh really, yes, then only you can offer. So the next morning, Kamabai followed all the rules, but it became really late. Lord Jagannath was sitting already there. And he knew the time was coming, let us say 9 o'clock, when the partners would open the curtain and see, and then they would close it and do their priestly activities, but they would find out he is not there on the altar. So Kamabai finally, she felt it getting a little late. So in the last minute she rushed the khichdi to Lord Jagannath, and Jagannath said, thank you, but why did you take so late? I'm in trouble now. And he ate, and he did not have time to wash his hands and his mouth. He came back on the altar. And at that moment, the curtain was open, and the panda saw, my God, he has patches of khichdi here. And his hands were all sticky with khichdi. Who did this? Our Jagannath was somewhere eating khichdi. We never serve khichdi. It's the poor man's food. Where was he? So they couldn't find an answer to this. And that night, the king had a dream. Jagannath appeared to him and said, you know, one thing is, I'm always going early in the morning to eat my khichdi at Kamabai's place. But this devotee came and explained to her all these different rules. And then Kamabai was late, and I was in trouble. I could not wash my face and my feet, and nothing. And then he said something which I think is very, very thought-provoking for us. He said, to preach to someone religious principles which are different from what he feels spontaneously drawn to is violent. I don't want this. It was not good that this devotee came to Kamabai and forcefully converted her to follow all these rules and regulations. She served me very nicely, and I enjoyed it with her devotion. But now with all these rules and all these things, it is not good for her. And I had a dirty mouth. It's very interesting. When we find someone who is chanting very nicely, or we find someone who's full of devotion, let us not kill that spirit of devotion and bhakti in the person by introducing so many different principles and rules. These principles are good if they help someone to develop bhakti. No, they are good. They are servants of this principle that one should always remember Krishna in a loving way. No? But if they come in the way of remembering Krishna in a loving way, then it is not good according to Lord Jagannath. if this is pressured on someone. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. I see this, and my dear devotees, you have to be very careful in your own spiritual development. When devotees come to Krishna consciousness, come to our movement, they are always so joyful and so innocent and so fresh and so creative. When they become older, they all of a sudden make judgment about this was not done, that was not done, and they can become bitter and uninspired in spiritual life, but be very hard and harsh. It is very important in bhakti that our spontaneity of loving expression to Krishna is maintained. And therefore Haridas Thakur says, it's good to be to follow that religion, or this religion. The Lord who sits in the heart of everyone and induces everyone to worship Him in a particular way. He accepts the devotion of everyone. But if anyone is envious towards any one of His children, he retaliates. My dear devotees, this is a very, very interesting thing, which is very nice to contemplate today, where we hear about Haridas Thakur. Now, I remember how Srila Prabhupada would often say to us that our mission is not to make a Christian Hare Krishna, or a Hindu, a Muslim, or a Muslim into a Hindu, or this into that. That is not our mission. This is only this world religion is a certain religious culture, but Krishna consciousness is about the essence of the culture, which is love. Love for Krishna, love for the living entities which we serve in a spirit, and so on. When the king heard this, he was really, he was incensed. He said, what should we do with this rascal? And there was the priest. He said, give him one of the hardest punishment. Let us flog him or whip him with a, what is it called? Stick in 22 marketplaces. Let us give him this whipping. It's very bad, when you, I don't know if you were ever whipped like this with a stick. I once had it, your skin comes out, and your flesh from the back comes out, and usually you suffer more by the wounds when they get infected and you die of infection. It's a very bad punishment. It's still done in Shanghai, but it's inhuman. So, okay, this was done. But first, let us throw him into prison. And then we get him the next morning, and then we show him. So they put him into the prison. And when there were many brahmanas in the prison, all the high-level, influential leaders were in prison because they were not cooperating. If you would not cooperate with the government and you were a high person at that time, you were thrown into the prison. And when they saw Haridas Thakur coming like a little child, so innocent, into the prison, they had already heard that the next morning the most cruel punishment would be given to him. But when they saw him like a child, innocent child, smiling, Hare Krishna, fully surrendered to Krishna, they were moved. And they went to the prison cells and put their hands out like this, out through the iron bars. Oh Haridas, you are Haridas, please bless us. We have been separated from our family for so long. We are here in the prison eating very, very bad food, drinking very bad water. You please help us, bless us. Powerful blessings of a devotee. Very, very powerful, and bring a turn in life. So Haridas blessed them. He said, may you always be like this. This is a very unusual blessing. And Haridas Thakur saw their confusion and the puzzled expression. He explained what he meant. I don't mean it like this, he said. Now your minds are presently fixed on Krishna, and may your minds always be like this. May you stay forever fixed on Krishna. And your present mind is an auspicious mind. It's good. Because you are no longer after material enjoyment. Not like some of us, we want both spiritual and material. You are no longer in this. Therefore, always remain in this Krishna conscious mind. You will very soon get free from your prison life. But you must know, as long as the spirit of material enjoyment eats up your heart, you have no chance to come close to Krishna. So this is Haridas Thakur's blessing. Would you like to have Haridas Thakur's blessing?
Yes.
Yes.
The young devotees always say yes. The old devotees say, we are not sure. No, please be sure. Your mind is always focused on Krishna. And you're no longer bewildered by the false identification of the self with the non-self, of the Achit, or with the Chit, with the Achit, or with the Ananda, with the Nirananda. When you're no longer confused about this, then your spiritual life will start very, very nicely. So because Haridas Thakur was such a pure devotee, the pure love for Krishna came into the hearts of the prisoners. They all chanted and they were all very, very happy, and after a few days they were all released from prison also. You know, this happens when you meet a Kanishta Adhikari, means a beginner in Krishna consciousness, and he preaches to you, your curiosity is awakened. You become curious. I want to know about these people. Why do they dress like this, and so on. If someone meets a Madhyam Adhikari, that is someone who is more advanced than the beginner, then he develops genuine faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. But if someone is so fortunate to meet an Uttama Adhikari, they are very rare, these pure devotees like Haridas Thakur. At that time, pure love of Krishna comes into the heart, even if one has not yet started the process. I have seen this when I was, when Srila Prabhupada was with us. If we met him, boom, we would change our life. Immediately, we felt Krishna, 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 and only Krishna. Yes. But when a young devotee, Kanishta Arikari, talks to us, we are only curious. What is this? What is this? What is this? So, Krishna consciousness is so wonderful, but it is residing in the great devotees like Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur can give us the divine gift, which is love of Godhead. I have studied a little bit the Quran, only a little. I mean that, and they have these. There's the Quran, but then they have the sayings. They're the hadiths, and in the sayings of the Muslim religion, it is very nice be explained. You will see how it is so nice. It says, "What no eye has ever seen, what no ear has ever heard, what no mind has ever thought, have I," means the Lord, "prepared for my devotees. I want to give them this gift, which no eye has ever seen, which no ear has ever heard, what no mind has ever thought about." And when someone, a great devotee of Krishna, talks like this, or is bringing us to Krishna consciousness, then, or when we meet him, then we get some idea of this great gift. Haridas Thakur was flocked, it's called flocking, this whipping. I do not wish to explain the details, it's very painful. All the people, they went through themselves before Haridas and the soldiers who were beating on him and said, "Beat me, don't beat Haridas. Haridas is the best of all beings. I deserve to be beaten." But they mercilessly were beating Haridas. And finally they went before Haridas and said, "You are not showing any signs of pain. You are just jumping, chanting. You are so happy and blissful. Who are you? What is going on? We will be killed if we can't kill you." Oh, said Haridas, "I'm sorry. I created some trouble for you. I'm really sorry." And bang, he fell down on the ground in deep samadhi of Krishna consciousness. The soldiers went back and said, "Finally he's killed." The king said, "What should we do with him?" The priest said, "Don't give him a burial. Don't give him a grave. That's reserved for good, pious people. He's impious. He has left his native religion. We should throw him like garbage into the Ganga." And they wanted to take his body, but when someone is in samadhi, he becomes extremely heavy, and they couldn't lift him off the ground. You know, this is a state of consciousness which is where the mind becomes one with the mind of the Lord. It is deep connection, becomes very heavy. We know of Dhruva Maharaj, he became so heavy that his toe pressed down the earth planet and it came out of the natural orbit. So Haridas Thakur was also really heavy. Finally, he changed his samadhi and they threw him into the Ganga, and he was floating down the Ganga, and after some time he was found by the devotees, and I think also by Lord Chaitanya, and they did a huge kirtan. Later Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Haridas Thakur, why didn't you feel any pain?" Haridas said, I don't know. I was just in bliss, chanting. There was a reason, said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I wanted to come down from my Vaikuntha planets, and I wanted to chastise these demons who were hurting you, but you were all the time praying, don't hurt them, it's all right, no problem, no problem. Don't retaliate. You know, we have heard when someone is feeling bad towards the devotees, then the Lord retaliates. He gives them a hard time. So you were praying, don't give them a hard time. So I could not come. I could not stop them. I could not protect you. Therefore, I came in an invisible way between you and those who tried to kill you. And I took all the whippings on my back. And at that time, Lord Chaitanya turned his golden body around like this, and they would see, everyone saw blood and streams and everything on the body of the Lord, yes. Can you imagine the body of the Lord like this? Better not. But then Lord Chaitanya changed back into this body that totally healthy, you know, totally unharmed, because he is a transcendental body, no problem for the Lord. But yes, this is the point, my dear devotees. We will be tested. At that time, some of us will run away from Krishna. These are the devotees who are very young and new. And at this time, others will take shelter at Krishna. And these are the real devotees. Please, when you are tested, don't run away. I've heard devotees in Serbia, they have a little Serbian temperament. When it's bad, then when life is hard, then they become angry with Krishna. That's not good. You have not yet passed the test. Well, at that time you must take more shelter with Krishna. Isn't it natural to take shelter? I see now everyone, the rain is there, and everyone comes inside or under an umbrella. You know, it is very natural to take shelter. So when there is some trouble, so when there's the rain of material nature, the hard rain, take shelter under Krishna's lotus feet, because from his lotus feet a nectar of immortality will rain. I think, this is the last point I make, I think a problem which we have is we have a problem with the silence of God. Do you remember in Christianity when Jesus is nailed on the cross? And he asked this question, which I think all of us ask sometimes. My dear Lord, why have you forsaken me? Why have you given me up? Sometimes we feel we are doing so much service, but does the Lord care? Is it important for him? Does he notice the trouble which I take in his service? Or is it just not important for him? How is the Lord reacting to me? We feel like this, no? Why is he so silent? Why is no sign coming? And the answer is, my dear devotees, I feel very strongly that the Lord is there all the time on our side. And he gives us the strength to go through whatever we have to go through on our way to him. His silence doesn't mean he is not there. His silence means, I understand you. It is hard for you, but I'm by your side, and I'm giving you the strength to now go through this in Krishna consciousness. Haridas Thakur was asked when he was in the interview before the king. It's called an interrogation. Give up your Hinduistic chanting, no problem, and we will let you go. Otherwise, we will have to punish you severely, and you will be flogged, beaten hard. And Haridas Thakur said, I cannot give this up. Even if my body is cut in 1,000 pieces, I cannot give up chanting. I think this can encourage you. Maybe when you say, oh, I've eaten so much, I cannot complete my rounds. Haridas Thakur said even when I have to suffer greatly, I have to complete my chanting. You know, this is, when we learn about Haridas Thakur's commitment to chanting, maybe a little drop can come to us. Hare Krishna. What do you think, Murari? Some good example. My dear devotees, I want to chant now with you a little bit. We have prepared a very nice melody which we call the Haridas melody. And we want to chant. It's a very beautiful melody. I think we should chant a little bit more with devotion. Devotion comes into our heart when we turn to Krishna. Who knows, Krishna might have waited for you for many, many lifetimes. When you chant and you are still absent-minded, Krishna is disappointed. Oh, this devotee chants, but he is not there. He's not present. Only when you're present becomes an active, then an extra thing happens in you. You become alert and alive. When you are absent-minded, you are not really there. So I request you to turn to the deities and we will chant. So beautiful. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Please take Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama very slow and address Krishna, almost as if we are here, if Krishna is there, and we are singing here, and Krishna is hearing what we have to sing. Please start now. Hare Krishna. I wish all of you a very nice retreat, a nice summer camp. You have made the effort to leave everything behind. During this time, your business is on hold. During this time, you are not so active any longer in material survival, work, study, and so on. You've come for what could well be the last Serbian summer camp, at least in this environment. I don't think we will stop the summer camp in Fruska, Gora. Please use the time properly. Allow yourself to step back from your life. Step back means, let us say, this is your life, and you are always very engaged with the life, you always see everything it's very close to you, sometimes it gets under your skin. But now you have the chance, the open invitation to step back and look with a new perspective on your life. A painter who paints a picture needs to sometimes step back, because only then he can see things with a new perspective, and he can see where things are out of harmony and where there are some things which don't fit any longer, needs to be removed. If it's so close, the painting of the light is so close, we can't see anything. No, if you hear when the light is just so close, we can't see anything any longer. The perspectives need to be changed. A little distance is required. So during this time, please use it. What is this position? How do you step back from your life? Where do you step to? Where do you go in order to have a new perspective? You must give yourself the permission to go to the spiritual realm, where you understand I'm really, in my essence, I'm a servant of Krishna. I belong to my Lord. He is my beloved. That spiritual position is necessary if you want to step back. If you cannot step back to the spiritual position, you don't really, you do the same thing here as you do everywhere else. You do not gain the distance which you require. So my suggestion to all of you is, use this time nicely, talk about spiritual things, encourage each other, ask from each other, well, what did you notice in your spiritual life? What works for you to bring you further? No? Don't talk about the things which are not encouraging. Leave this behind. No? Step to the spiritual position and have a wonderful, wonderful summer camp. There will be now an Arati, and after the Arati we will meet again. I've always wondered, when Krishna left Vrindavan, did he really leave, or did he come back at one time? And finally I found from our acharyas wonderful descriptions about the return of Krishna. And I think this is a very nice, this we all need to know as devotees, because wouldn't it be nice if Krishna steps into our life? If Krishna, I wanted to say if Krishna returns to our life, but he's always there. We have run away. It's not him who has run away. So at 7:30, I would like to talk about this with all of you. So all the best. See you very soon. Hare Krishna.